Tuesday tour with Superintendent Dr. Doug Domini as he toured us through the school district and in particular the new community arts center that they are building at El Dorado. And they're really doing some marvelous things on behalf of our community with our school district. Makes us very, very proud. A lot of other things, Mr. Mayor. There's one thing I would like to mention. It was a board meeting that I had the opportunity to attend Mondays with our OSERS board. OSERS, for those who are not aware, are our pension responsibilities, specifically with our fire department and our sheriffs. And for those who don't know, we have unfunded pension liabilities. I think the number was 4.8 billion with a B, $4.8 billion. And so the board was wrestling with what do we do to begin to eat away at that pension liability. And it is a difficult situation because the people who pay for that pension liability are we, the supporting cities, the contributing cities. But I was glad to see a number of the cities were represented there. Thank you, Mr. Christian, for attending and lending your learned ear and kind words there at the podium to weigh in on behalf of the city of Yorba Linda. This is something that we have to do, and it makes for some very difficult decisions because there is not a right answer and a wrong answer that has to be done. This $4.8 billion pension liability is probably going to grow to $5.4 billion next year, and I liken our responsibilities this way. I think of it as an athlete. Your top athletes, your golfers, your tennis players, they hire coaches. Why do they hire coaches? It's because they know that a coach can help them train better than they can train on their own. The coach can put these professional athletes, the Tiger Woods, the Roger Federers of the world, they can push them harder than they could push themselves. I think we need to somehow get behind the OSERS board and help them push us financially, because we're going to be forced to make some decisions to pay more into a system to begin to eat away at that multi-billion-dollar liability, and it's going to cost us to do so, but it's going to cost us more if we don't do so quickly. So with that part of the update, I would like to encourage that we as a council perhaps put it on an agenda item to learn more. Mr. Christian, perhaps you can help explain for us what that liability is, what it means to us, and not only can we, the city of Yorba Linda, with all of our wealth and affluence and influence, be able to afford it, but what are the rippling effects for some of our less fortunate sister cities across the county? And if this forces them into a bad corner, what does that mean for us? And just it's a dialogue I think we really need to engage in, because it's some pretty serious issues. So that's the end of my report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Young, for those listening, I think this is really something that's important to understand. And I have a rudimentary understanding of it. It was explained to me. Would you feel comfortable, or if not, I'll certainly do this. Would you explain in a nutshell what was discussed there about moving up the payment and shortening the time of the payment so that people understand what we're talking about here? Because you're throwing out some huge numbers, but there's one item that you went to hear about, and explain that to the folks.
Okay, be happy to, Mr. Mayor. And if I don't do it justice, feel free to provide some extra color. $4.8 billion worth of current liability, and the examples, we were in a 3-hour meeting, the examples that were given were with proposed new policy by that board. What would it look like if we were to step back 6 years ago and have invoked those policies under the then preceding 6 years worth of revenue and expenses